You're listening to the Artist King podcast.
This is DTM of DeltaTangoMike.com, and this is the Artist King podcast, episode 62. Yun Bai is a hardcore artist with a big hardcore message. Her art has been published all over the world. She has filled galleries on both coasts and everywhere in between. Yun Bai is focused on helping the art community through education and resources. She also participated in last year's Artist King Women in the Arts discussion panel at Emory University. Find out more about Yun Bai, her art, and her mission on the interwebz on Facebook.com/YunBaiArt.design or on Twitter, YunBaiArt. Every month, Artist King will be giving away a 1-hour consultation with an art business mentor and a business coach at Azalea Creative in Inman Park. To be eligible, artists must be an Artist King email subscriber. Visit www.artistking.org and subscribe now to get a chance to be one of those artists, plus receive updates on upcoming events, classes, meetups, workshops, and resources available to artists of all levels. Please take a moment to find the Artist King podcast and rate our program on your favorite platform: iTunes, Spreaker.com, Stitcher Radio, and ArtistKingArchive.com. It's important that we hear from you and get your feedback and ideas. Artist King is yours, and we want you to benefit from the information shared here every week. The Artist King podcast is made possible by our generous sponsors: the law offices of Deborah Gonzalez Esquire, VelocityScreenprint.net, RevolveSkate.com, OHub at Giant, SouthSide Sickest, Mex Manny Beats, the Biz Garage, SuperNova South, and also be on the lookout for reduced rates on websites for artists by DenominatorGraphics.com and Lucam.com. Check out artistking.org for artists.
My name is Yun Bai, and mostly a lot of people know me as Yunny Bunny. That's my nickname. And I was made in China, in Beijing, China. In Beijing, China. And then my parents immigrated to the U.S. We kind of ended up in Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay.
And I grew up there like a real authentic Southern country Asian. And then came up to Atlanta because Agnes Scott College gave me the most scholarship money. And as soon as I hit 18, Tallahassee is more of like a smaller city. It's really mainly college student and retired people. And so as soon as I hit 18, I was like, where's the nearest biggest city? And it was either Miami or Atlanta. So I came up to the A. And, I've been here, and then I went to LA for 6 years, and then I came back and just, doing it from here now.
Okay. So, tell us a little bit about the art that you do, and then we'll jump into a little bit of chronological art history of art in the life of Yun Bai. Okay? All right.
Okay. Well, right now, I'm mostly known for my porn flowers. I make flowers out of porn magazines, adult magazines, like, whatever porn magazines I can get my hands on. And it's really I really like to provoke thought, and I kind of see my work as a stimulus, and I throw the stimulus out there to see how people react. I really love to play around with stereotypes and identity. And the backstory of the porn flowers is that, do we want to go back into the backstory? Or
sure. Yeah, we can go into that. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So after I graduated, I was, a little junior at Agnes Scott College, and my mom came down with endometrial cancer. And I didn't want to finish school fast. And I was like, Yun, I don't want to take like 6 or 8 years to graduate. I got like 1 more year left. So what do I need to do? How do I make money quickly and legally? And I just, I was like, I can't sell drugs. You just be a really bad drug dealer. You just be so bad at it. And so I worked as an exotic dancer, as a stripper, and made my money and stayed straight and got out and came out with 5 internships under my belt. and Mom is still with us, and now I get to make this awesome art and tell people about my story.
Okay.
So that's kind of the backstory on the first part of the Porn Flowers. Now we're on part 2 of, moving forward with the art.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, because the stripper part, how did that evolve into the Porn Flowers? What is it that how does that transition, and what sparked that?
Yeah, well, a lot of people like the idea as it is, but when they hear the story behind it, it's very compelling,
Mm-hmm.
And so I really, I would really go to class. It was a really hard time. I'm definitely, adversity is definitely a friend of mine. I know it very well throughout my life as an artist. And so that was one of the first few incidences of adversity I had. I'm trying to graduate. Mom and Dad are just going through it. They went homeless for a minute. They were bankrupt. They went bankrupt. And I felt kind of very helpless because I couldn't help them. I could really just do my best to help myself.
Right.
And so I didn't have money fast. And I was like, and at the time I was like, how do I really get this money? How do I do it,
Right.
And so I went and, did the stripping, and, it was a very wake up experience, because I saw like a whole side of the world that I really didn't want to see. I wasn't quite ready to see it, the pimps and the drugs and just that whole life. And so I just knew that, this is a temporary, situation, but I journaled about it excessively. I really documented the experience because I knew I would use it as content for my art.
And so being so that stripper part, and you found that you wanted to tell a different story, and that's why you used the Porn Flowers. I mean the porn.
Well, it was really about identity. You know what I mean? Because I had like an identity crisis because during the day I was a college student, and then at night I was a stripper. And then, and then the men, of course they would try to have sex with you for money, and I would refuse. I was like, no. And they would call me a whore. They would call me a slut for refusing to have sex with them. You know how it is. And
Right.
We're going to go into, all that, being a female artist and just a female in general in society. And that did get to me because you are weak in this, weak going through adversity stuff, and you're trying to hang on, and you have these people calling you a whore and stuff. And so I was like, well, am I the sweet, bubbly, yummy bunny that everybody knows me to be? Am I a college student? Am I really a whore? And I said, no, and after I got out that life and graduated, and Mom is still with us, and I started making art about it after graduation to heal myself. I really, the Porn Flowers are really about hope and healing. And so one day, I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. I love God, whatever is up there. And it's just like a divine power just gave me this idea. You're sitting there, and I was sitting in my room one day, and I just had this flash, and it just said Porn Flower. And I was like, what? And I got really afraid. I was like, Porn Flower? Are you serious? And I really kind of got afraid about it for a while in making it. And I said, well, I'm just going to make this art. You can't, have this vision for you that God specifically gave for you and you not honor it. It would be a disservice to the world, to not bring that to the world. So I started making these Porn Flowers. I went and got a bunch of Asian magazines, like Asian porn magazines, because, I said, well, if I take these Asian porn magazines as an Asian woman and I, manipulate it and make it into a flower, because I saw myself as this powerful feminine force, can it be something else? Because porn is always like, people, people think what they think about it. But I said, if I deconstruct it, if I manipulate it, if I make it into something else, can it be something else? Will people see it as something else? So in making these flowers, the more I made them, the more healed, it was very healing for me because, what a flower is, it's beautiful and blossoming and growing and just so lush and beautiful. And I just, made these Porn Flowers to really heal myself. And that was part of my healing and art therapy for myself. And that was
Right.
really how these flowers started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's deep. That's deep. All right. And I had laughed earlier because you said the men were trying to have sex with you, but when you said no, then they call you a whore, and it's like, wait a minute, I just proved to you the opposite of that. But you still,
yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
that's the part that's crazy. Like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. So let's start from the beginning with your history with art. Do you recall when art interested you? What type of art was it, and how old were you?
I was 4.
What?
I was 4. Yeah, I was 4, and I was in China. And my mom always kind of just pushed me into, we're Asian. She's got us in all these crazy extracurricular things, and that was one of them. And I remember drawing, taking calligraphy and doing like traditional Chinese painting, watercolor painting.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember drawing a panda, and that was just when I knew that I was like, I really like this art, But it wasn't until I was 14 in high school that I came across this amazing high school teacher named Debbie Barrett Hayes, and we're still, close to this day. And she, I took AP art. I took art all 4 years, as my elective.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a first self-portrait. She introduced me to Prismacolor pencils. And it was done after that. I just never went back. And I made this self-portrait of myself, and I was like, wow, Yun, I was impressed with myself. And I was like, you got something here. This is really good. You know what I mean? And I went with it, and I took AP art and was able to get college credit for that. And I just knew that was my calling. I was obsessed with it ever since.
Mm-hmm. And
it's an obsession, man. You know it is.
Yeah, that's how it starts. Yeah. So you're taking art classes, and the teacher is encouraging you. Do you enter art events? Do you enter contests? Do you enter? Do you follow art through high school, through middle school and high school?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was just, I love teachers, and if it wasn't for Miss Barrett, I would have never gotten into art. And I had a conversation with her, a month ago or whatever. She said, I hope you don't hate me. And I said, why would I hate you? I love you, Miss Barrett. If it wasn't for you, I would have never gotten into art. And she said, the life is so hard. I just feel like I put you on a curse, on a path, on this art curse. And I was like, no, it's my calling. You know what I mean? And so she really, the program there was just so amazing. She introduced us to installation art. She introduced us to Barbara Kruger. Just a lot of these artists that when you're in Tallahassee, you don't really wouldn't hear about that kind of stuff. I didn't know what an installation was, but we started doing murals and stuff when we were in high school, and that's when I started, getting influenced by graffiti and hip hop, and I hung out with the skater crowd. I was always like, the crazy S&M hip hop Asian that made straight A's and had blue hair, in high school. So my mom couldn't say anything, She was like, man, she's real traditional. They came from communist Mao era, during the communist revolution. So we definitely had that clash. And she couldn't say anything because I brought home straight A's. So she let me go do whatever I wanted as long as I came home with straight A's. It was all good.
Right. So as you're going through high school, do you think art is going to be part of your career? Do you have plans to continue on with the art? And what are your thoughts?
I fought for it. I wanted to do it. I really didn't know if I wanted to go to art school or regular college. And so I picked Agnes Scott because I just really love the camaraderie. It's a huge sisterhood. I speak so highly of Agnes Scott. I just know all the women that graduate from there are phenomenal women. But I majored in art. And ended up and minored in economics and business. And my parents and I, we fought really hard. They were like, Yun, you can only be a doctor, an accountant, or lawyer. or real estate or business or something. And my dad was like, well, I feel you, honey, because I get weak in the